Hello, Divorce and Beyond family. I've got some exciting news because we have teamed up with Headspace to guide you toward better mental health. With Headspace's meditation, mindfulness tools, and mental health support, you're set for a journey to a happier, healthier you. And there's more because if you sign up through our exclusive link, you'll enjoy 2 weeks of Headspace membership for free. So don't miss out on this opportunity to embrace your well-being. You can check out the show notes for the link or just go to divorcebeyond.com/headspace-Susan. And you'll be able to start your path to peace and joy today. This is just one more way that we can support you on your journey to a better beyond.
Coming up on today's episode of the Divorce and Beyond podcast.
So one of the things I ask everybody that I work with and who I know to do is, what do you want that you're not getting? What is it that you want that you're not getting? And get really clear on what those 1, 2, or 3 things are. And from that point, you figure out what obstacles are getting in the way from thinking or getting or achieving those things.
Hello, and welcome to the Divorce and Beyond podcast. I'm Susan Guthrie, your host. As a top divorce attorney and family law mediator for 30 years, I know what you need to know to get through your divorce, and most importantly, how to move beyond it to thrive and transition to your new future. My experts and I are here to give you the insider view into the process, so listen in for the wisdom and expert information you need on your journey through divorce and beyond. Hello, and welcome to today's podcast. I'm Susan Guthrie, your host, and today, listeners, we're visiting again with our friend and coach, Jenny Stevens. Hi, Jenny. It's wonderful to have you back.
Hi, Susan. It's great to be here.
So everyone, you remember Jenny. She has visited with us several times, but most recently when we were talking about the tsunami of change that hit her life in the past few years, all the different things that really came down on her all at once in a very short period of time, including a journey through cancer and recovery for her, but also the passing of her mother and the father of her children, all within 1 year. So it's funny, Jenny, we were just talking and you were saying it's really just recently that you've started to feel that you've come out on the other side, right? What does that feel like? I think it'll give a little hope to my listeners.
Yeah, it's like you don't really know how good you feel until you feel really good and really healed, both emotionally and physically. And you can almost like lie to yourself. You're like, quote unquote, I'm fine. But now it's been almost 18, it's almost been almost 2 years, and life feels so much different and more grounded and gotten through a whole lot of stuff. So it's like we are meant to we can go through hard things and feel different.
Feel different, but get back to a wonderful place, right? You were talking about this past weekend and you got to just have a normal home weekend with cookouts and dogs and relaxing, like normal life again, right?
Absolutely. No big major changes. And I got engaged a few months ago and we are doing the blending thing, and my fiance and his kids moved in. And for all those listeners who are divorced and looking to do it again in a different way and blend, there is hope, but there's also a new way to live and a new way to be. And there are good things, we all know that, divorce can also be a huge opportunity. It can feel really, really good once you get to the other side.
Get to the beyond, everybody. Well, and that's what we're talking about today. You just mentioned, we can go through hard things. And in our last episode, when we talked about that tsunami of change, we were talking about all these major events that came together, major negatives, right? These were difficult things that you were going through all at freaking one time, right? And how you were getting through them. But flip side of that, there are other times in life where there's no major, pinpoint, like I can point to this as to what's going on. But, you're sitting there and you and I when we were talking about setting up the episode, they were kind of like the WTF is wrong with me, right? Moments in life, right? Like where you're just sitting there and you can't really put your finger on anything major, but that something needs to change. And so we called it the, WTF, what's wrong with me? The top 5 signs you need a coach, because everyone thinks you need a coach. Well, I'm getting divorced, or when I'm going through this major life change, or when I want to build a business, or whatever these like very specific tasks are. But you've broken it down for us today into sort of 5 top signs that you maybe a little more subtle that something a coach is going to be able to help you with. And I would say probably the first key indicator is you're sitting there feeling, what the fuck? Like, what is going on?
Yes. And for those of you listening, if there are things that you are constantly thinking about that you want to do or want to change, it could be, do I want to stay or go in this marriage? When and if am I ever going to lose this 5, 10, 15 pounds? Am I going to stay in this job forever? Am I going to move homes because I don't really like it? There's always a nagging, I want something a little different. And most people stay stuck and stay complicit with these meh or marginal, it's good enough. And I'm here to tell you, do not wait for cancer, losing a loved one, and or a divorce to do the things that you want to do. So one of the things I ask everybody that I work with and who I know to do is, what do you want that you're not getting? What is it that you want that you're not getting? And get really clear on what those 1, 2, or 3 things are. And from that point, you figure out what obstacles are getting in the way from thinking or getting or achieving those things, and then so on and so forth.
I like the meh, when you're just feeling meh. But that's right. Like, how often do we sort of get ourselves into a holding pattern where things are okay, they're fine. Is there any more annoying word in the English language than fine, right? But you are stuck. Things are not changing the way that you want them to. I've called you my champion of change, our champion of change. You have dealt with more change, as we talked about in the last episode, than anyone I know. And you also, know how to hit them head on. So that stuck feeling is really something that a good coach is going to be able to help you with, because I think part of being stuck is not being able to see out of that place, that this is really a place where a coach is uber helpful, because it's like when someone else can come in and see something that's so obvious to them, but not so obvious to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. We talk about, so like, if you've ever been stuck on a runway, you're at the airport and you're ready to land. And
yesterday,
you like touch down and you like can't wait to get to the gate and go home and see your dogs and friends and whatever. Just get home, and you're stuck on the runway and they're like, wait a minute, we're waiting for another gate. Wait a minute, we're waiting for another gate. And that sort of liminal, like that sort of like time where you're like, I just want to get there. I just want to get there. And you don't have control over getting there. I'm going to tell you that when you're sitting there and you're in that math stage and you can't wait to get to the gate of your life or the next direction, you get to choose to get there. And you have to be able to see, or with a coach or to help you see that you can see another way, that it can be just as easy to visualize and think about a different story or a different narrative or a different place. But many of us don't believe that we can actually have better or do better or have great, right? And so getting really clear on what it is you want, whether it's the weight or the job or a relationship, or maybe even moving to a different street, or actually doing something and changing careers, maybe changing the people that you hang around. Unless you get really clear about that, and then have the belief system, which things we can talk about, in this episode, having the belief system to getting there, you cannot get there. So, I always say a picture is only as dark as you paint it. If you really think that you can't have it all and then you can't move something, the issue is being able to get unstuck and figuring out and deconstruct those things that get you stuck and move through those obstacles. And those moving through those obstacles move you and put you in a different gate, to so to speak, get you in a different direction. But it's not a struggle. I teach clients all the time, this doesn't have to be a struggle. And if you believe it's a struggle, Susan, you and I know a couple issues that we've talked about. It's like, if you believe that you can't have something and you can't go through it, then the struggle will keep you stuck. So if you are out there and you keep thinking, how am I going to do this? I need to think my way through this. You absolutely, that's when you say, wait, stop. Let me look at the obstacles. You don't have to, quote, figure it out. And it doesn't have to be a struggle, even to make the most minor changes in your life, whether it's your daily habits, your daily behaviors, your thoughts.
Well, and you and I went through this. I'll just reveal to listeners, right? I had been stuck in a certain mental place pattern probably my whole life, but I'd certainly gotten myself in there during COVID, some weight I had gained, and just sort of a perspective on myself and how my life was. And had gotten myself to a place where this is going to be my life. I can't get out of this. This is who I am. This is where I am. And I know, one of your comments is when sometimes you need a little honesty and laughter to help you get to a new perspective. And I'll certainly say you gave me the honesty.
I mean, Susan came over. I was post a double mastectomy and surgery, and she brought me food. And we had, been about a year and a half in our friendship. And you kept mentioning this sort of story about you and your, wearing black and, having this COVID weight. And I was very bold and honest and said, why are you doing this to yourself? Do you want to change? Do you want to feel differently in your body? And quit being stuck and attached to this story and narrative. The opposite of this can be just as true. And I mean, I think I made a guarantee to you to help you along your way to change your mindset. And I was like, not only did I believe in you, I was trying to convince you, which I think I did at least enough to give you a little more hope to talk to me again. Just kidding. You're my friend, so you have to. To believe that you could feel differently. I said to you, in 6 months, the next conference you go to, you will feel and look completely different in your own skin. And there it began.
Yeah. 32 pounds later, right? And a completely different, but I will say to you, as a person who, and this isn't a weight loss episode. No. This happens to be the change that we're talking about, that in my mind, and in my world changed. And so I just want to explain the experience for listeners to understand it, because I wasn't even necessarily thinking I needed a coach or I needed somebody to help me with this, right? So if we're talking about the WTF moments, I was in the what is wrong with me? Why can't I lose this weight? Why can't I change? Why can't I, do this? And I had been there many, many times in my life. Yet in working with you, getting that honesty, honestly, getting the laughter, it did give me a new perspective. And I'm in a different place that I'm not going to go back. And so it was a very different time and place and experience for me. I'm sharing it because I want people to realize that the most important thing was the changing my perspective. Because anytime I had tried to work on this in the past, my perspective hadn't changed. Just my momentary behaviors changed, right? So I might have lost a little weight over a period of time, but then I immediately went back to my original perspective, which is I gain weight, I eat too much when I'm stressed, I do this, I do that. And this time it's a very different perspective.
Well, we have a joke that there's always another French fry. You don't always finish your plate or have the last dessert. There is not a last supper. I mean, unless we're all going to die tomorrow, which hopefully we're all not going to, there is not another Last Supper. There's always another French fry. There is always another Diet Coke, a glass of wine. There's always another brownie. And if we think from a place of lack and scarcity and think, oh my God, I have to have this last thing, or then it will not be. But what you said is pretty interesting. What we were talking about, Susan, is what you were not giving yourself permission to feel different, permission to actually not be attached to the weight you gained during COVID. But for those who are listening, it can be as easy as I'm not giving myself time and attention in the morning to sleep adequately, meditate, go for a walk, go to the gym, sit quietly before the chaos ensues for my day. Most of the people I work with say to me, I don't give myself enough either love or self-compassion or grace. So it might not be a weight. It might not be a job we want. It might not be a relationship we want to lead. It could just simply be, I don't like how I think about myself. I don't give myself what I need. So it's back to prioritizing and coming up with what your non-negotiables are. What are the 2 or 3 things or 4 things that you need to do in the morning every day to set yourself up for success? Come hell or high water, you're doing it. You're prioritizing yourself. You're making an appointment with yourself, just like we do with our doctor, dentist, even our dog. Sometimes I give my dog more care than I give myself. And come on, I mean, that's funny. It's not only absurd, but it's quite funny. And what I like to do with my clients is to bring some levity to the situation. It's like, we are giving and giving all day long. And unless you can't give from an empty cup. And how do we just make some minor shifts to our daily habits and behaviors to start prioritizing what you need? And usually, folks, it's not much. I know for me, it's my morning routine. If I don't give myself that 30, maybe 20 to 45 minutes a day, whether it's Pilates, go for a walk, make my cup of coffee or tea, sit in my room alone without anybody coming to bug me, I know in absence of that, I don't feel quite as good. Now, I don't ever look for perfection. I think it's an 80-20 rule. 80% of the time I do that during the week, maybe 5 of the 7 days. And the other 2 days, I don't make a thing of it. So what is it that you all want? What are 2 or 3 things that you know that you wish you could do, that you want to do? And let's make those the non-negotiables.
Well, and I like that. So I want to talk more about finding those things. Today's episode is brought to you by our newest sponsor, ThredUp, the largest online thrift store where fashion meets sustainability. Imagine finding brands like Free People, Madewell, Patagonia, Zara, and Lululemon all at up to 90% off retail. ThredUp makes it easy to shop your favorite names in fashion without the hefty price tag, all while giving clothes a second life. So if you're ready to refresh your wardrobe, our listeners get an exclusive offer. 45% off plus free shipping on your first order. Just visit divorcebeyond.com/threadup. That's THREDUP. Whether it's updating your style or finding unique pieces, ThredUp has something for everyone, sustainably and affordably. Check it out at divorcebeyond.com/threadup, and let's make fashion feel good again. Now on to today's program. Stay tuned for more from our champion of change, Jenny Stevens, as she shares more from her devastatingly difficult year, how she weathered those changes and came out on the other side stronger, happier, and ready to help you navigate your life as it goes in new directions.
When you tell me or you tell a coach or somebody that you have accountability with, because you're telling me that you're going to do it or telling another coach that you're going to do it, you have accountability around doing it because you check in with them every few days or even every day. You send your coach a check mark that you're going to do it. And by golly, because you said you're going to do it, you do it. And if you don't, you fall off the bandwagon, then you get up and you do it again the next day again.
If you are enjoying this episode, be sure to check out last week's show with Rhonda Nordyke to learn how changing your relationship with money can drastically improve your divorce outcome.
It really does take a team of people, to navigate through the financial pieces and come up with solutions that, man, we were, like you said, it's like, okay, we preserved the retirement, we paid off the debt, you freed up your cash flow, 500, and you kept the house. Like, yes, like this is such a huge win for her. Just awesome.
And now we return to today's show.
Going back to what we were talking about at the top of the episode, things are fine.
Mm-hmm.
My life is good. I'm just not feeling, and I'm not talking about myself. I'm paraphrasing here, but for a lot of people, they don't even. They're like, well, I don't even know what I want. Or how often do you hear, well, I just want to be happy? Something so nebulous, right? Like that. What does that mean?
So, you're talking about, Matt to good or good to great. If you, how do I say this? If you know, what would it be is if I said to each of you or said to you, what do you want to feel better? What would it be like if you could live your life any way, which way? Would it be to have, usually it's this, I want to love myself more. I want to have a deeper connection with the people I'm around. I want to be less controlling, and I want to have better self-discipline. Okay,
Wow.
so if I said to you, you could have, do you want help getting more self-discipline? Do you want accountability around a few daily habits and behaviors that could help you feel differently? Would you like to feel more loved and deeply connected to your loved ones at the end of each day? And get ready, people. Would you like to have more fun and laughter and spontaneity? Well, listen, I'm here to tell you, it took me to get breast cancer, lose my ex-husband, and lose my mom, and manage a divorce, and truly going into single momhood to realize that no one is coming for me. Mel Robbins says that I love her, and no one's coming to save you. And I learned very, very quickly that I better live each day to its fullest, because nothing's going to change unless I decide. So you have to decide, and you have to get clear on it. But Susan, just like we were talking about, it's nebulous, but it's not that nebulous if we really talk about it and ask yourselves, how do you want to feel at the end of each day? And then we back into it. I knew how you wanted to feel. I could see it in your face when we talked a year and a half ago. I could tell you wanted to feel more confident, more grounded, more alive, and you wanted to feel unstuck. So what is it that you want? Is it more self-love? Is it a deeper connection? I know for me, it's letting go of control and being more spontaneous and having more fun in my life and laughing more. So what are the things that make me laugh that can be a little more fun in my life, and schedule that fun and schedule those experiences? It's a lot, but it's also just not a total thing. It could be a mindset. It could be a way of the way you want to feel. You want to change the way you feel.
Well, and I love that you give us those 4 concrete examples of what it often is when you're working with clients, because I bet one of those 4s resonates with every single person out there who is listening, who doesn't want one of those, 4 more, deeper connections with the people around us. What were the other 3? Say them again.
Right. So self-love and self-acceptance. People want more self-discipline. Am I going to do the things I promise to myself to do? I know that I feel better if I go to the gym or go for a walk. I know I feel better if I see people that make me laugh. And I know I feel better when I have a deeper connection with the people who I live with and my loved ones. I also feel a lot better when I'm not trying to control my environment and control the people around us. We suffer because I want you to be different. I want you to do something different. I want my kids to clean up the room. I want them to shut the lights off. I want them to pick up the dog. You know what? I want them to help me unload the dishes. If I cannot take things so seriously and change the way I respond to things, I am an active participant in my life. I'm not being passive, and I'm not handing my happiness over to somebody else. And the way you do that is get clear on what you need. So when I say, let's build your non-negotiables, and you commit to those just like you commit to other things in your life. You commit to those non-negotiables, and life does feel differently. And then we back into how do you want to feel at the end of the day? How do you want to feel even hour to hour?
Yeah. And the non-negotiables, I think, are really a key part of this. And one of those things, sometimes we all know we need an accountability partner, right? Like we know things need to be non-negotiable for us to move forward, yet we just don't do them. And so that's one of those places where a coach is so incredibly helpful. I've said for years, I've spent, a ridiculous amount of money on a personal trainer, even though I know how to go downstairs to the gym and use the weight machines. And I know what to do. I know how many reps to do. I know what weights to do. But if there's not a person down there waiting for me at a certain time, I'm going to find 50 other things to do. So it's in a certain way, that's a physical coach. A personal coach is along the same lines. And that's stop doing and start doing. Stop doing and start doing. You talk about the stop doing and start doing lists. I think that's a critical part of it too, because that, as a coach myself, working with people on their businesses, those are 2 things that are so incredibly impactful, and yet people have a very hard time stop doing some things that are so unhelpful to them, and to sort of jump off the cliff and start doing some of the things they need to do.
That's right, Susan. So if you're out there and you're thinking, I would like to be more present and more mindful, I'd like to have a little more gas in my tank come 5 or 6 at night when I'm with my kids or when I'm just even by myself, then what are the things that preoccupy your day or preoccupy your time when you're done working? Usually it's a few things. It's usually procrastination. It's usually scrolling on our phones. It sometimes can be grabbing the glass of wine or an unhealthy snack instead of taking the dogs out for a walk or meeting a friend at maybe a class or just going outside. So there's always 2 or 3 things that we can stop doing. A lot of times clients tell me, I want to go to bed earlier. I don't want to watch just a mindless show and spend an hour late, just being up just to be up. So it can be just tweaking your bedtime. They can just be small things. And like anything, it takes a little bit, it takes 21 days to form a new habit. And when you tell me or you tell a coach or somebody that you have accountability with, because you're telling me that you're going to do it or telling another coach that you're going to do it, you have accountability around doing it because you check in with them every few days or even every day. You send your coach a check mark that you're going to do it. And by golly, because you said you're going to do it, you do it. And if you don't, you fall off the bandwagon, then you get up and you do it again the next day. Again, I'm not looking for perfection, but I am a proponent of replacing behaviors that no longer serve you with behaviors that do serve you. I know we all can say stop scrolling or put a limit to your social media for 30 minutes a day. So you're not just in bed laying awake at night. That's the last thing we want to do to calm our minds and bodies down before we fall asleep. That's just, one scrolling is just one example.
Yeah. Well, and guilty with that one. I admit it. Right. And sadly, so I'm one of those people who looks at Instagram reels and likes to see like the puppies or the baby cows or the little cute little lambs. And then I send those videos to my husband like, oh, isn't this cute? And so now he's going down the Instagram reel hole and the 2 of us will be sitting in a room, both of us looking at Instagram reels. And I finally was like, give me the phones. We're going to put these in a drawer. It's got to stop.
Well, again, limits, even as adults, limits, our kids need limits on the phones. We as adults need limits. These apps are meant to, they're highly addictive. So just like when you put down the sugar, you put down the booze, you put down the toxic people that you don't want to be around, we're the combination, I'm throwing a lot at you, Susan, but we're the combination of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And if that's one of the things you want to feel more deeply connected to the people that you are with and or enjoy more laughter and spontaneity, pick those people wisely. But I say just as much, pick your thoughts wisely and pick your daily habits wisely. Again, it's an overhaul, but it's just even tweaking 2 or 3 things that you do a day to get you where you want to be. And again, it could just be a mindset. It could be, I want more self-discipline. It could be you actually want a new job or a new relationship, but don't struggle with it. It can be just as easy to say, I can have it all, or I actually can trust myself to do it. And I also need some accountability. So I'm not saying you need a coach every single day of your life, but coaches like me can help you get unstuck, define and get really clear on the obstacles getting in your way and help you create a new normal, a new story, and a new state. And you can actually, then you will feel different and you are different when you go through that. But it's just a massive belief that you can feel and be different. I'm not saying you can change who you are. I don't want you to change who you are. Right. I want you to change daily habits and behaviors so you can feel differently.
You said something that I think is really important because we're talking about, right, people who are in stuck places or other times besides major changes in life like divorce or, the death of a loved one or something where it might be really obvious that you need a coach. But another one you just mentioned there is when it's time to let some of the toxic people in your life go.
Oh, yeah.
Because that is a time when people really struggle. And it could be the breakup of an old friend who's just gone to a place where that relation, friendship is no longer a positive one in your life or something like that. But I think it's important that people understand that can be another place where a coach can actually help you sort of curate you said you're the sum total of the 5,
People that you hang around and the sum total of the 5 thoughts you have.
Yeah.
When people want to change positively, it's a massive disruption to the people around us. Okay. Not only is it a massive disruption to yourself because you're overhauling and I'm asking you to audit what you're doing each day and how you feel. And I'm introducing you to new strategies and new ways to, go about your day. When we change for the better, the people behind us sometimes or around us don't like that because we're showing up differently. We might be doing things that are more healthy or might not be complaining all the time with them or talking about drama and perpetuating this sort of like negativity, right? So if you change, the people around you either pick the people around you that are supportive of your change and say, hey, what are you doing? I want a little more of that in my life.
Right.
And, you might have to clean house with some of the friendships or people that are bringing you down. Or you can even say to those, I've had to say to people, hey, listen, I'm really trying not to talk about people, or I don't really want to complain. And, one way to look at this, your situation would be this way. And I am and I wouldn't say I'm overly optimistic, but I am a very optimistic glass half full person. I'm a realist. I'm not sitting there saying that pain isn't real. Don't be sad. Don't be depressed. I'm saying, no, all of those things, feel your feelings, but change our thoughts to create the life that we want and the things that we want. And I'm here to tell you, I keep saying, do not struggle. If you are in that struggle bus and saying, how do I do this? When am I going to do it? It's never going to happen. I mean, feel free to for sure call me if you need it, but if not, call somebody else and say, I just need help to get on the diving board and take a jump, take the leap of faith and have someone like me or you or to believe in you to get there. Life is short, people. Life is really short. And don't wait for something bad to happen to you to even get a better morning routine, more self-discipline about the way you feel about yourself each day, to have more spontaneity, to have more love, have more laughter. If you want more deep connection with yourself and your loved ones, you can have it, but you have to stop doing some of those things that take you away from it. I know I've got 2 daughters who are 11 and 12, and they are on the go, and there's phones and parties and sports and stuff. I know that if I come downstairs when they're home and I'm on my phone, I'm not connecting with them on any deep level whatsoever. I'm missing it. So just to sit there, put my phone away, wait for whatever they want to talk to me about, but I get to sit there and just these sweet moments. Now they might be on their phone or doing TikToks or whatever the heck they're doing, but I'm there in the background just watching it. And I'm not trying to control them anymore. I'm not trying to tell them how to be. I let them be, and I'm an observer. But I get to have those sweet moments when they do want to show me something and they want to talk about their day. It's not for very long, people. Come on, if you have some preteens in there, you all know what I'm about to say. It's I might look the wrong way or say the wrong thing, but I sit there and I take it. I don't take it personally, but I get those sweet moments because I wanted to have a deeper connection with them every day. I wanted to have that.
We have talked about so many different ways, and I think one of the things you just said is don't wait for something negative or bad or big to happen to bring about a change in your life. Those things that happen to us, things like divorce, the death of a loved one, et cetera, those are going to bring about change by the very nature of these. They change the lives around us. They're going to change us. But if you are in a place where your life feels stuck or where you are just saying, WTF is wrong with me? What is going on, right? The genesis of this episode. There is so much benefit in working with a coach, in working with someone who can help you to get to where you want to go, even if you don't know where that is, because that's one of the things that your coach is going to help you. You probably actually do know where it is that you want to go. You just need someone to help you bring it out.
I was just going to say, it's not that I have all the answers. I'm just a compass. I kind of help you if you're, it's spring here in Chicago and I love to go through my closet and say, what do I need? Like all I'm doing is helping you look at your life and look at what you are currently doing and asking you, what do you want to change and where do you want to go or what do you want to be? And it could be just as easy as the mindset or the self-discipline or the connection. It could be a job or it could be a relationship. It could be a marriage, but it doesn't always have to be that. But you're right. Right when you're like, how do I get unstuck? You have the answers. I'm just asking you those questions and asking you to interrogate some of those thoughts and behaviors, to tweak them, and to give yourself permission to let go of some of those old negative patterns or habits that no longer serve you, and to be introduced to new stuff. You all know what they are. It's just having somebody mirror those things to you and ask you to have accountability around it.
And help you chart the way. I mean, having worked with you personally,
yeah,
I know it works, everybody. And that's why, I've talked in many other episodes about the value of coaching, but it's always been associated with some big major change. And what I want people to understand, and I hope they have gotten here in this episode, is at least an understanding that it doesn't have to be just when these major things are going on in your lives. There's always room for improvement. And if that's what you're feeling, if you're curious about knowing what could be, or you have that feeling inside that something more could be, that's when you might want to reach out and talk to someone like Jenny. So if they did want to, what would the best way to get in touch with you be, Jenny?
My Instagram is JennyStevens_coach, and my website is www.jennystevenscoach.com, and reach out if you want. And always a pleasure seeing you, Susan. You inspire me, and I know you inspire so many other people. And you are living proof that you can change and tweak things. And it's always lovely being here.
Well, I so appreciate your coming. I love to get to spend some time with you, and I love that you're sharing these insights for people in a way that's just so relatable. My listeners love you. And so, thank you so much for coming back on and for offering your time and your energy and your wisdom for them. So thank you, my friend.
You're welcome. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you for joining me today on the Divorce and Beyond podcast. I hope you found some information and inspiration to help you on this journey. Please join me every Monday at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for a new episode. And if you like the show, please take the time to subscribe and leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. You can also find more information on the website at divorceandbeyondpod.com, where you'll find links to the YouTube channel, transcripts of the episodes, and other bonus content. So I'll see you next week to help you move through your divorce and beyond.